Hi, I'm Terry Phelan with Living Shelter Architects,
I'm Sandy Campbell with Interior Design
and we're the architect
and interior designer behind the Crescent Creekhouse remodel, which is Terry's home.
Yes, my home. I love it. I've always wanted to do a deep remodel to create a healthy and resilient home to retire in, and I love this location in Old Town Issaquah.
From the outside approach, you can see the stairs heading up to the Treehouse ADU where Terry's co-owner Peggy lives.
You might also notice the 6.2 kilowatt solar array on the upper roof and the front yard food garden.
Let's go inside the 1,200 square foot first floor. Since this is Terry's forever home, we included aging in place and barrier-free features.
The entry has space to sit down and remove shoes, and opens to an airy and sunlit living dining kitchen area on the left, and 2 bedrooms and baths to the right.
The floors are easy to maintain with porcelain tile at the entry and baths, and cork in the remaining areas.
The Farmhouse Kitchen is the heart of this home. It now connects visually to the front food garden and to the Creekside Sanctuary in back.
We wanted the design to be a comfortable space customized to Terry's needs. For task lighting in the kitchen, we specified LED under cabinet fixtures, and we worked with Northwest LED, a custom linear lighting manufacturer based in Mount Vernon. In the guest bath, we needed to figure out how to combine the functionality of a bathroom and a laundry room into one small space.
We stacked the washer and dryer in a recessed area next to the shower. This is a kit system with an integrated surround and pan, which is easy to clean, and also serves as a drip dry spot for delicate washables. I wanted the master bath to be a space that would be easy to use as my needs change, and to accommodate lots of linen storage.
We are huge fans of recessed niches and use them in most of our projects.
Grab bars were installed in the shower for additional support, and a handheld shower head on an adjustable bar allows me to modify the height to accommodate standing or sitting.
We've enjoyed sharing this project with you and how to create a healthier, more sustainable home.
So, for those of you who've recently joined, the house was completely gutted on the inside. We left the exterior pretty intact other than new windows and then siding where we took out old windows or replaced some things. But that allowed us to do energy retrofit and really fix some structural and systems problems that the house had. So it's actual, and then completely redo all the interior finishes. So it's like a new house inside, and it operates like a new house as far as with all this smoke. It's sealed so well that I'm not smelling the smoke inside at all. I mean, all the finishes are going to last a long time because they're very durable, hard, easy to clean finishes. And the outside, we maintained the original footprint, so we didn't make extra impact onto the property. And in fact, we're doing rainwater catchment to keep the water from the roof from escaping into the ground or getting into the creek, and then we'll be able to use that to water the front yard food garden.
Which is also healthier for the plants because they're not getting the chlorine that you get out of your regular water.
So, Mary, the house was a little rambler when we found it. It's built in the 50s. And we love the location because it's on the creek. We had lived out in Preston on the Raging River for 11 years. So when we moved into downtown Issaquah, plan was to find something on the creek that we could remodel, and took us about 10 years to find it, but we found it. And we rented it out for a couple of years, so we had time to think about what we wanted to do. And during that time, it went from doing some minor remodeling to really, adding a second story and doing a lot of rearranging inside to make it accessible. So aging in place accessible on the main floor, and also to have room for a future ADU. It ended up that we couldn't afford everything we wanted to do. And about the time that we were going to drop the addition upstairs, a friend approached us and said that she was wanting to downsize considerably and would buy into the property to help fund it if she could live in the ADU. So that became our little co-housing group.
So you had planned you planned the upstairs to be an ADU from the beginning?
From not the very beginning.
Yeah.
It had planned from the very beginning, we were going to add on to the footprint and make the house a little bit bigger and make a garage a little bigger. Ray wanted a bigger garage. And it ended up, because we were completely within the setback of the creek, this creek was a little more environmentally sensitive. So we couldn't even add on to the opposite side of the house, which I had in my initial research thought that we could do. So we decided to go up to get a little more space, and with the idea that it could be a future ADU like 10 years or so down the road. And then it turned into an ADU, but a co-ownership ADU in making the budget work. And I mean, it's such a blessing to suddenly, to have this miniature co-housing situation, especially as Ray passed away last year. Peggy, our friend upstairs, was she was part of the caregiving team. And then she and I are, rely on each other a lot. Now, we have meals together a few times a week. We take care of each other's dogs when we travel, and it's going from being in a marriage relationship and suddenly having that gone and COVID hit. I can't imagine going through all this if Peggy wasn't there. So it's been a blessing.
Yes.
And we both really love the situation and are both proponents to co-housing and the support system. And we also live in this really special neighborhood. It's a little cul-de-sac off the main road that most people don't know about. And so almost everybody that lives back here knows each other and watches out for each other, which is unusual in a lot of neighborhoods these days. So many people don't know their neighbors.
We're guilty of that to a large extent. We know immediate neighbors, but we've been here 6 years now. And you go down this way to the east, toward the dead end of our homesite drive, and you probably know better than I do.
Probably the 5 households around us that we know best and hang out with, and we feel lucky just to have that, to have neighbors who will watch the house and will watch theirs and go out and have drinks, and but it's really rare these days. It's just
Yeah, we never had that in any place. We've lived in Seattle, and then 4 years ago we moved south to Des Moines. We have more area. We have an acre, And we have way more community down there with some of our neighbors.
Talk to us about Des Moines, Sandy.
Oh, I really love it. We were looking for more land because we were living in the old Rainier Brewery building in a concrete bunker loft for about 5 years. And I'm like, I need nature and land. And I still wanted to keep my office downtown Seattle. So it's about 30 minutes to get to the office, but I go home and now I work from home, but it's a retreat. We have a beautiful acre down there. Our neighbor across the street has 3 acres. Our other friend has 5 acres. So you can get some space. There's also some other houses that are smaller, but there's room, and it's a more quiet community. Once we moved down there, I'd come up to Seattle. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many people. It's so busy and it's so much traffic, and it's just not that way down there. So I really like it. And ours was a big cleanup site. So we've been doing a lot to it in 4 years. Yeah. And then Terry's going to help me with an addition on the back and the front.
Yeah. And we've done some bartering. Sandy did a lot of helped us with a lot of the interior selections for our house, and then help with getting her drawings together for permit on their house.
Yeah.
That's how it works best.
Right. I love the bartering system.
Yeah. So when you went looking, you looked for 10 years for the right location and the place with the right kind of bones. What were you looking for? How did you know what it was when you found it? If that makes sense.
Okay. We're looking for something that was on one level, that was on the creek, that was walkable to Old Town Issaquah.
I'm going to say hi to Linda. We have somebody else that just logged in.
Okay.
Hi, Linda. You're on mute, but if you have any questions or comments, you can unmute or write something in the chat box for us. Any questions? And welcome. Terry was just going over looking for the site of the project and what the checklist was that she was looking for.
So it was also really important to me to have a site with good sun, because I like to garden. So, and I wanted to do solar. So we've got a 6.2 kilowatt array on the upper roof, which was another reason for adding up when we did, was to get better solar access. So let's see, what else?
Close to your office, walkable?
Well, at the time my office wasn't on Front Street. I was working out of the house.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So
But
yeah,
you're still looking
it was
for an
really
office space.
I wanted to be in Issaquah. So that was one of we'd already narrowed it down to Issaquah.
Narrowed it down that far.
Yeah. And that made it, we had to wait longer to get to find all the other things, because I wanted to be in Old Town Issaquah, and it's pretty small. So had to wait for the right thing to come along. And then it had to be priced right.
Mm-hmm.
And we got this before the prices went sky high. So that was nice. We paid $400 for it.
Even there.
But that was a while ago. And then we put another $400 into the remodel. I want to pull up a couple of the old photos.
Yeah, because you didn't tear down all of the main house. You kept some of the.
No, we left the
exterior envelope.
The bones of the house. Yeah, we left
Yeah.
the bones of the house. We rearranged some spaces inside.
Yeah.
So as you get to that, talk us through your decisions about what to leave and what to open.
Well.
Yeah. And you put all new. You did all new windows and doors.
Did all new windows. See, we wanted to do an energy retrofit. Well, actually, one of the things that happened was we had, there was a series of events, and the house was cute. And let me see if I can share this now again. So this was the house when we bought it. It was a cute little rambler. It, had, this was all driveway. It is now all garden. And the inside, it had a kitchen that seemed like it could be workable. It ended up that the cabinets were really bad, and this looked out to the creek. So this little window looked out to the creek. And then this was the living room, and it had these built-ins that were quite charming, and fireplace. And this was the entry. And when we decided to rearrange things for the furniture to work better, and for the access to the outside to work better.
A connection to the creek.
It ended up like connection to the creek. The place didn't really flow very well. There are a lot of like dead ends that felt like.
I'm gonna say hi to George. Hi, George.
Could be better. Hi, George. And so we decided in the end to go big and flip the kitchen and rearrange some of the bedroom bathroom spaces especially, and to take out that fireplace wall and put the fireplace in the middle of the house. So we did end up with a fireplace. Not my decision, but I wasn't the only one making decisions. And as we started tearing things out, we came across some pretty scary wiring in the walls. Let me see if here we go. Oops. We were going to,
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see that, but the plan was that we were going to just remove a few walls to do what we wanted inside. Started opening things up and found stuff like this, where the wiring had been all attached with wire nuts behind the drywall and then just left like that.
Wow.
And we decided that was probably not the only place that had happened. So we decided to take it down to the studs. And when we did that, we found some other things, like a window that had been boarded over on the outside or on the inside, but left to exposed to the outside, and it was a broken window. So there's all this, air and moisture and stuff that could come inside. And then this was the insulation in the old part of the house, newspaper. So in deciding to really redo things, it snowballed a little bit, but it gave us an opportunity to do air sealing and much better insulation and create much better indoor air quality, which were all really important to me.
So those are cellulose bats, is that right?
So
Yeah.
these right here, they're I wouldn't call them bats. They're cellulose
Homemade bats.
sheets. They're from 1951.
Oh, did you read any of them?
No, we kept them, actually. I've got them somewhere.
We were trying to find the dates. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So that's the original part of the house. Go back to, well, past it. So this part is the original part of the house that was built in the 50s. And then this part was added in the 80s. And then our, this was added just 2 years ago. This covered porch was not covered when we started, so that was another thing that I wanted to create, was a covered outdoor entry area. And it's a really nice, comfortable, it's like 7 by 6, so there's room for a chair. One of my favorite places to just sit and look out at the food garden. So you can see this is now garden, front yard food garden, which I think is much more appropriate than a lawn.
Or then the driveway.
Or than the driveway that was there before. So that was all broken up and removed, and then we built raised beds on top of the old kind of hard pan, which it's interesting, the soil in the raised beds wasn't as nutritious to the plants as when the roots got down deep enough that it was into the old soil. So the roots got down there and broke up that old soil. So this was the first year for the food garden, and next year it should be even better. And we're getting a big rainwater cistern that's going to go right here.
Nice.
Yeah. So, I'm not sure what, yeah, we did replace all the windows. The windows were a variety of old wood windows and older vinyl windows. Replaced them with fiberglass units that should last a very long time. They are double pane, not triple pane. But that was what fit for our energy model.
And then you did a new roof, of course, and you did solar.
New roof, and yeah, 6.2 kilowatts of solar. We're still compiling the data to see if we are netting out with net zero. We do have a gas water heater, and Peggy's got a gas stove upstairs. So even if we're getting to net on electricity, the gas is not, I think we'd have to get more solar panels to offset our gas use or replace those. Again, those are a couple of things that were not my choice, but because there were 3 of us weighing in on some of the decisions, I had to stand back on a couple of those.
That's co-housing.
Yeah, yeah.
Sandy, what should we know about the design pieces that you've done here?
Well, we did a hard surface floor throughout, which you know is very healthy, and we did mostly cork floor, which is really such a nice material, easy to clean, good for ambient sound. So that's worked out really well. And even with Keisha's claws, we have cork in our attic space with our 2 big dogs, and it's fine. It holds up very well to pups. We did Canyon Creek cabinets in the kitchen, and those worked out really well. You can really customize them, so that was really fun. I think we did under cabinet lights at your place as well, Mary, and we did Northwest LED. I don't know if we were working with them back 6 years ago, but they're in Mount Vernon, and we just love them because you can customize the size and length of the LED fixture and then link them all together, so you don't have any blind spots, and it's a local company, which we love. So we use them for the under cabinet lighting. I use them for all sorts of applications, but it's worked well in under cabinet lights. And there's some of the cork floor there.
Are those planks?
And then what are some of the, They're planks, yeah. So it's a
Yeah.
floating floor system.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can put a cork underlayment underneath, which adds, it's nice when you have the planks, because if you have any voids at all, you don't hear the clicking noise of the planks moving if you have an underlayment underneath. So we always like to do that. And we did quartz countertops,
And a wood countertop at the island.
butcher block at the island. And I love that Terry wanted to do the two tones of the gray. So we did kind of the darker on the bases and then a lighter tone on the uppers. That's a really nice combination.
It's really lovely.
And functional, because that little island part is really your, what do you call it?
That's my food prep area.
Your
It's
food prep, but you're bill paying, you're like all around.
Oh, yeah.
Control
Yeah.
center. And then that's Peggy's upstairs ADU, which
So
is, you said 600 square feet. Yeah.
yeah, use cork up there too for good sound absorption between the units. Did some good insulation between the floor and her floor and my ceiling as well. Didn't use any carpet in the house at all.
No. Just area rugs. That's the healthiest way to go, for sure.
Well, we're going to sign off. Thank you so much for opening your home and taking the time today. Really appreciate it.
It's really great to see you guys. Yeah.
When if you come to Yakima, I think you remember where we live. So.
Yeah, I have your address. I'd love to see how especially your landscape has grown. That'd be fun.
Anytime.
It has grown. Yeah, you should see it.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thank you.
Oh, and Mary, one more thing. When you were asking about what we were looking for, we were also looking for a small lot. And speaking of garden space and growing, we had been on about 1/4 of an acre before this, and we're tired of taking care of all the yard.
It's a
and
lot of work.
got older, we wanted things to be a little more contained. So we are on a pretty small lot here, but it's perfect size for us.
It's enough to grow, right?
Yeah, it's enough to grow and to have a little sanctuary back by the creek, and that's what we wanted.
Wonderful.
Okay. You
Thanks.
guys have a wonderful
Good to see
day.
you.
We
You
will.
too.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. So George, you asked about co-housing. I know that you are yourself familiar, but for the people who are logged in who aren't, it's basically when 2 or more households come together to share property, and one of many ways. A lot of times they are separate housing or separate buildings that are maybe small homes and then have a commons that they share. Sometimes they are like a multifamily, like a condo type project, again with smaller units and larger common spaces. This is a micro co-housing because it's just 2 families. And my late husband and I set it up so we own 3/4 of it and Peggy owns 1/4. So we could easily buy her out was the reasoning. Now that it's just me and Peggy, we're looking at reallocating that a little bit. So it's maybe a 1/3, 2/3, which is appropriate to the square footage of the space, because my space is about 1,200 square feet and hers is about 600 square feet. So this picture is of the ADU unit upstairs, so the main room, which is pretty spacious for 600 square feet. Was one of the things I love to do is set up the flow of a home and a space so that it furnishes really well and lives well, and your traffic pattern through doesn't interrupt the use of the space, and yet doesn't add more square footage. So this gave me lots of opportunity to do that on both levels, and explore things longer than I might be able to do for a client because I wasn't watching the clock so carefully.
Yeah, and has asked if there's an actual active garage for automobiles. And
Yeah.
there is a garage door. Terry, you can speak to what size it is.
Yeah.
It is active.
It is an actual garage. And it's a 1-car garage. We don't, oops, that got put in there twice. We don't actually have a car in there right now. We've got a motorcycle in there and tools and storage.
Which is how you kind of intended, not to park an actual car in there, right?
Right. There were 3 motorcycles in there at one point. So it does have, if it has room for 3 motorcycles, it has room for a small car.
True. But you wanted to maximize some storage in there as well.
Right. So we've got some rack storage. So some that is mounted from the ceiling and hangs down, and lots of crates are stored up top there. And then we have some metal shelves as well, and reorganizing a bit so we have room for a upright freezer.
The freezer is really handy during COVID. You can stock up.
Yeah.
They're in short demand. They're hard to find.
Are they?
Yeah, they're really hard to find. I checked with Albert Lee and they said the back order till maybe January.
Wow.
Yeah, but I did find a chest freezer at Lowe's. So if you shop around and go, if there's just one there, just buy it.
I have a problem with chest freezers personally. I know that they are the most efficient, but any flat surface I end up putting stuff on top of.
Oh yeah, I wanted an upright, but there weren't any. And there was a chest, one of them available, so we grabbed it. With the thought that we can trade it out later and sell it, but yeah.
Yeah, so here's the garage.
Yep, there it is.
Right on the end of the house.
So with your fencing even set up the way it is right now, it's not set up to drive a car in.
Well, it is. This fence right here is hinged. You can see how it kind of goes into a low spot in the middle. This side swings back and attaches to the wall here, and this side swings back and attaches to the wall there. So then you can drive in and out. That keeps the dogs inside the fence while you're coming in and out of the garage. So there's actually a whole series of gates here. There's a gate right here that goes goes to the upstairs. There's the gate, the wide double gate that allows access in and out of the garage from the driveway, and then the gate here that leads into the front garden and onto the front door, which is tucked back over here. So that was one of the ingenious things that I got to noodle on and figure out how to keep the dogs inside the fence and be able to get in and out of the garage, and for Peggy and I to be able to have good unimpeded access between each other's units, as we do go back and forth a few times a day. We meditate together every morning and meet in the back for cocktails if the weather's good. And,
that sounds like a great start and end to every day.
Yeah.
Start with meditation, end with cocktails.
And drinks at the end of the day.
Oh yeah, that sounds perfect.
Yeah. So just so you all know, the session is being recorded. So the fact that you're muted and not showing your faces keeps you much more anonymous on the recording. Use the chat to ask questions and mute yourself if you're not speaking, but if you have something to ask or say, please speak up. And then our sponsors for the tour are so important to make this all come together. I'll put a lot of energy into it. Sponsors add that extra layer of financial support as well as in-kind support. So we're very, very grateful to have them back us for this tour. They're backing the whole tour. And I know Mighty House Construction and Green Home Solutions have sites on the tour as well. I think they were on yesterday. I think both of them were on yesterday, but hopefully you saw some of their stuff.
So
Yeah.
April has asked what some of the challenges have been with co-housing.
Some of the challenges with co-housing are making decisions, coming to a consensus, and the fact that there were just 3 of us when we started made that a little easier. Some co-housing groups are as many as 20 or 30, and so that's a little more challenging to get through all the decisions. Finding someone who you agree with on many things is makes it an easier process. I'm just going to stop sharing for a minute just to give us some FaceTime. It's also, I mean, there have been times when, because we are 2 small households, we have.
Hey, Terry, I
Yeah.
just want to say hi to Jeremy and Chrissy. Hi, welcome. Terry is just answering a question that was posed about what are some of the concerns or what has been hard about co-housing or some of the things.
Challenges.
Challenges,
Yeah,
that's the word I was looking for,
housing.
challenges. So feel free to unmute if you want to ask questions or write something in the chat room and we'll answer questions.
So the one thing about our co-housing, our micro co-housing, I like to call it, since this is just 2 households, has been we didn't create a commons other than outside. So we've got the 2 households, and because mine is larger, it sometimes becomes the default place for group gatherings. And I have to, every once in a while, remind Peggy that when she's inviting people over, that if she's inviting them to my house, that she needs to talk to me about it first, rather than just say, hey, come on over, and then realize that we've got too many people to gather comfortably in her place. And she's more social than I am. So that's really been our only challenge. But I think in every co-housing situation, there are challenges. We have it set up so that we have a joint household bank account. So we figure out the first of every year what our share of the different expenses might be based on use or based on ownership. Like taxes are based on our ownership percentage, but utilities are based on our usage. And then one of us, like right now, I'm paying all the monthly bills. So we both pay in every month according to our share, and then the monthly bills are paid out of that There are some legal things that you need to consider. We worked with a group called Co-Buy, who really specializes in helping small people, small groups, so groups of 2 or 3, buy property together or own property together. So it's a co-ownership model, and that was super helpful in working through all the legalities and checklists. And then it's just really about communication. It's like so many relationships. Right.
We had a question, Terry, from Jeremy about, did you set up an HOA? And then also, can you post in the chat room a link to the organization that helped you set up the co-housing?
Sure. We did not do an HOA because we're small enough. It wasn't something that we felt was necessary. But we do have a legal document that covers maybe some of the same things an HOA does, just like, the share of, what we want to do on site and how we make decisions about things. And then some common, the common bank account and, managing purchases and payments, anything over $100 that either of us want to purchase, like at the garden store, at the home improvement center, or anything like that. We check in with each other before we make that kind of a purchase, just to make sure that we're not stepping on anybody's toes.
Chris just logged in. Hi, Chris. And he was asking if I lived upstairs. I do not. Peggy lives upstairs.
You just helped us do the interior, this beautiful interior. It's so nice.
Yeah, I worked with Terry and Peggy on the upstairs and doing all the interior finishes and materials. And it was a super fun project. Great clients, of course.
It was really nice to work with Sandy. And she did the work that we want. I mean, she helped Peggy more, I think, with the selections. I made a lot of my own selections, but then she helped me with just fine tuning and putting it all together. So we make a good team.
Can I ask, what did the so I'm want to do something similar, but with my daughter and son-in-law.
Yeah.
What did Co-Buy do for you?
They gave us checklists to work with. They connected us to financial and legal consultants who are familiar with the co-buying process. So they were able to kind of outline the things to look out for, and then also write up the tenancy in common legal agreement.
So that's what you have. You have a joint tenancy or a tenancy in common.
Yes,
so you
a tenancy in common.
A tenancy in common with, you said she had a third. You could do it as an uneven split.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's what we did. So she's 25% owner and I'm 75% owner.
And you said you paid for the house in cash, and feel free if this is too personal, but this is the information that I'm looking for. Did she get a mortgage, or did you get a mortgage to finance the remodel, I guess? And
actually, no, we did not. Neither of us got mortgages. We both borrowed money against some investments that we had. I had some cash to work with. So we basically do not have a mortgage. Neither of us has a mortgage.
Go to a bank to and because that seems to be the issue right now for us, is how you would get a mortgage on half of a house. So
Yeah, and that's another piece that CoBI can give you guidance on, that it is much more typical for people to get mortgages. Now, I am planning to get a small mortgage in order to pay off the loan that I took against my investments. And I haven't gone through that whole process. I'm just going through the early part of that. So, but the plan is that I will have my own mortgage, and if Peggy gets a mortgage, she would have her own mortgage.
yeah. Well, thank you. The house is beautiful. One other question about soundproofing. So you added the second floor, and so were you able to add soundproofing? I know she's a friend of yours, but in a scenario.
Oh yeah, we're not that close. Yes, I set it up in the design so that the ceiling joists. Do you understand what ceiling joists and floor joists are? So the ceiling joists, which are the framing just on the other side of the sheetrock of my ceiling, are separate from the floor joists up above, and with about a 4-inch gap.
Okay.
So there's no direct transfer through lumber from the upper floor to the lower floor. And then that area between that 4 inches, or actually that whole cavity, was filled with cellulose insulation, and then with 2 inches of what is it? It's a denser insulation.
Like the hard
Rockwool, yeah.
What is it called?
So that helps with the sound deadening to vary the insulation density.
Okay.
It's Rockwool insulation, and it's made almost they take rocks and they spin them, and it's almost like you make this cotton candy out of rocks. And that's actually what it's made out of.
Yeah.
But it has a higher R value than fiberglass and others.
Well, it's denser. It's a little denser. So it's that mix of density is really important in sound isolation.
And it's naturally fire retardant.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you don't have to apply anything to it.
How many square feet is it down below and then up above?
Down below, it's 1180, so just under 1200. And up above, it's like 590, so just below 600.
Is the upstairs just all one room, like a studio apartment?
No, it's a 1-bedroom. So where the photos are showing, let me just go forward to.
It's the kitchen with the red backsplash. That one's upstairs.
So this is the main. Come back here. Why did it do that? So there's the main room right there. Well, why does it? I think you saw it. I'm just going to let it go through its thing because it wants to keep going back. There's that main room, which has got a kitchen all along one wall, and then her kind of living space on the other side. And then through a door, there's a bed. Through that door here, there's her bedroom. And then on the other side of the bedroom is the bathroom.
Okay. Okay, thank
There's
you.
a little porch in the front too, so she can sit outside on her little porch.
Oh, nice. How do you like the apron front sink?
That's hers. She likes it. I didn't choose that for mine.
Well, we do a lot of apron front sinks, a lot. They're very popular. People like them a lot. I would say the only downside of an apron front sink is sometimes you get water running down the face of it a little bit, and it can drip down onto the cabinet below. So you occasionally might need to replace the doors of the cabinet if they're not, if that water is not monitored. But otherwise, people are really enjoying them.
Interesting. Thank you.
I really
And
like
I
the
want to
book.
say hi to Alan, and if Tim's still on too. Hi, Tim. Hi, Alan. Nice to see you, Alan. And Tim, welcome. If you guys have any questions, you can write them in the chat room or unmute and let us know and ask away.
Thank you. I have to go, but I appreciate you opening up your home and answering questions. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for attending, Nancy.
Thank you
Bye.
for participating. And then we just put another link in the chat room for a video that we put together that you can go to YouTube and see the video. And it
Okay.
goes through the project, and there's more explanation of things there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know. I think Nancy was the one who was asking about the transfer between. So here's framing of the ceiling joists and then the floor joists above and the steel beam that holds up the upper level. Where we are on the East Fork of Issaquah Creek, there has not been flooding for many years. We do have, we're in the 100-year flood plain in this neighborhood, but that's from flooding down the street that could come down the street. We're not getting flooding from the creek onto our property directly, even in flooding circumstances. We also have a little bit of a high bank situation here. One of the things we did, here's another during picture showing where the old 3-bay window was and the uncovered porch and how we've changed that, removed the door. But back to the question, in the video, you'll see our connection to the creek, including some new stone steps that we had put in so we could get down to the creek. We felt like if we're going to be on the creek, I want to be able to get to it. I want to be able to sit down there and put my feet in the water. Or, you know, if our water gets turned off in some sort of an emergency, we can go down and get a bucket of water.
Terry, did you add insulation or do other energy efficiency retrofits when you did the
Yes,
remodel?
of course.
Of course.
I
Tell me
mean,
about that.
well, it was because we opened, that was one of the reasons, as we opened up the walls down to the studs, we sealed any outdoor, let me see, I need to get back to the screen share that makes sense for everybody. We sealed any of the cracks and holes in the exterior walls, and we replaced all the windows, and of course did caulking and sealing all around the windows. We did blown in bats, which is fiberglass with a little bit of a binder behind netting in the wall systems, and increase the insulation in the attic cavity to the maximum that could be allowed, including some rigid insulation around the perimeter, since we had a really, there we go. We have a really shallow pitched roof, so it doesn't allow for a lot of insulation right around the edge where the wall meets the roof. So we used rigid insulation there, which has a higher R value per inch in order to really maximize the level of insulation we could get in the old part of the house. The new part had more space that we could work with.
So you put rigid in the attic?
Just around the perimeter, just around a 2-foot perimeter. So we could retain our, in the oldest part of the house. So we could retain a higher insulation level where we only had, about a 4-inch space to
Nice strategy.
And then the new trusses upstairs, the scissor trusses, are a high heel truss, so that maintains more room for insulation at the perimeter there.
Right.
We did there's 2 faucets because we have a main faucet and then we have a water filter faucet. I do those a lot in projects. We use Custom Pure, which is a local company. They know the water really well, and it filters out a lot of the residue and all kinds of stuff that's in the water. But I'm a big fan of that, of using those water filters, and they're also, the water tastes really good.
I've never seen window mullions like that where they're just a horizontal stripe. I like
Yeah,
that.
it's an operable window. This window here, Terry. Yeah. So does it lower from the top? No, it swings out. Oh, it swings out. Oh, yeah, it just has the mullions on it. So sorry, it's a casement window. So the one behind me, which is the kitchen window that looks out into the garden. So that's a casement window, so it swings out, but it just has the mullion. Why did you decide to put those in there? It's just a style thing. There's no really name for the style. It's a little bit Northwest, a little bit Asian, a little bit 1930s. Yeah.
It's really unique. I love it.
Yeah, it's really different because it's not a traditional home, like not in that sense. It has some craftsman elements to it. But yeah, it's timeless. I wanted it to be timeless. That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
What is the flooring or the basin in the shower? Is it a solid surface?
So the shower that's shown, there's an acrylic pan. It's a 4x4 shower. And so there's prefabbed acrylic pans in certain sizes. So we were able to shape and size the shower to fit one of those, which is really nice for cleanability. And then in the second bathroom, which you don't see, but there's another bathroom, which is a combo laundry bathroom. There's a smaller 3x3 shower in there, and that's an all-in-one unit. Which works great also to wash the dog in.
Yeah.
Oh, you doing the big shower now? Not the little one? I've never used it. Oh. That was somebody else's idea.
Gotta have those features.
Sure. Sorry, what, Heidi?
You gotta have those features.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's all really about the pups. So. Yes. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so she'll drip dry things because it's in the laundry room. The other shower, which is a 3x3 unit, it's great for hanging things or on rainy days, you know. It's good for all those types of things.
Really good. Okay.
Yeah. Do you have any more questions or any more about like co-housing or anything?
Are those interior doors, are they solid wood?
Yes. And they're fir, right?
Oh.
They're all solid fir. Did you go to Frank's? At the door store? Oh, at the door, yeah, the door store.
Okay. I like your wine storage. That's a great way to...
Everybody comments on that. So there ended up being a little more space than what was anticipated for the pantry cabinets. So it was enough space to say, oh, let's do wine storage. And that worked out really well.
That's perfect there.
Yeah.
What's the color of your lower cabinets?
So the cabinets are actually 2 tones of gray. So there's a darker gray on the bottom and then a lighter gray above. I think it's like an espresso. Yeah, it's like an espresso. The cabinets are from Canyon Creek. So I can tell you exactly what colors they were. But there's a graphite on the bottom, it's called, and then sea drift on the top. And it's maple wood.
Oh, very nice.
And then upstairs, so that's Peggy's upstairs. And that one we did a darker finish on the base and then a painted white for the uppers. And it's nice because it kind of mixes it up when you have a wall of cabinets, you know, it's not all the same. I love to to mix the colors that way and mix the finishes.
What is the siding on the lower part of the house? It's like a,
Oh,
Shape?
I'll unmute you. Terry,
Oh,
there you go.
Got it.
Oh.
So that is cedar. It's cedar shakes. They're really deeply raked
yeah.
cedar.
very
Actually, I think they're called raked cedar shingles rather than shakes because they're even all across the top and the bottom. But that was the original siding, and then we were able to find new for the places that we needed to replace siding where we'd removed or moved doors or windows.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Very nice. Thank you.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
thanks, Jerry.
Nice
Thank
to
you.
see you guys.
Yeah,
nice
Nice
work, you
announcement.
all.
good to see everybody dropping in.
Yeah, that's extremely inspiring. Thank you all.